What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Under a Thousand Pod. I'm your host, Sean. This is GP Snakes. If this is your first time on the podcast, thanks for stopping by. On this podcast, we bring on animal enthusiasts, hobbyists, and breeders, and we talk to them, get to know a little more about them, a little about their journey with animals, and their journey in life a little bit. Just a little bit. But guys, before we get into this episode, which is a pre-recorded episode, because this is Tinley weekend, and I'm at Tinley. So if you see me, come say hi, say what's up, take a picture, talk to you for a little bit. If I'm in the corner, it's okay. I'm just getting away from people for a second. Anxiety got the best of me, but definitely still come say hi and what's up. But before we bring on our guest, we have to say thank you to this month's sponsor. So without further ado, here's this month's sponsor.
This month's sponsor is Flawless Exotic Creation. Will and Audra are a wife and husband team that left their career in law enforcement to pursue their passion of crested gecko breeding, and now they're pursuing another passion of ball python breeding, and they are hitting the ball python market by storm, picking up amazing morphs such as Clown, Ultrapide, Stranger, Wookie, and Monsoon. You definitely want to check it out because you could go look at their YouTube and see them unbox these beautiful animals. So definitely go subscribe to their channel and check them out. Thanks again, Flawless Exotic Creations, for being a sponsor for this month. Greatly appreciated.
All right, there we go. Thank you to Flawless Exotic Creations. Go check them out. All their links are in the description down below. Tell them I sent you and ask about the pig. Ask about the pig. But guys, without further ado, let's bring on our guest for this week. All right, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. If you could go ahead and introduce yourself to the people and let them know a couple of animals you keep and a couple of animals you take care of.
So my name is Brooke Elder. I'm boelizard on social media. Right now I work with mostly Mexican indigos, and then I also work with Australian frilled dragons. And then I dabble a little bit with tarantulas, and I also have like Gyrodactylodes, agricoli that I really love. And then I like bigger lizards, so I have my rhino iguana, which is Rocco. He's Instagram famous. And then snail vester, Stallone, my caiman lizard. And then I have Morpheus, my tegu, who was actually my first bigger lizard.
Okay. I didn't know you had tarantulas too. So you got a little bit of everything.
I have scorpions, tarantulas. I have African giant millipedes. Yeah, I like all animals. Like,
okay.
They're all fun. And I used to be kind of arachnophobic, so when I started working at a pet store, I just dabbled with some jumping spiders and did my thing and worked my way up. And I love tarantulas. They're pretty great.
Yeah, I'm not scared of spiders. I just have a healthy fear of them, and I want to get one to kind of help that fear dissipate a little bit. That's the goal down the road. I'm still trying to clear that with the wife and make sure she's okay with that, because she does not like bugs at all, and she considers a spider as a bug, so that's going to be a hard sell on her. But I'm slowly trying to work it in there. But I definitely would like to have baby steps. I definitely would like to have one. But thanks for coming on. You are on Instagram. We already know you're on Instagram. You're on TikTok as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'm working on a YouTube.
You're working on YouTube? Okay.
I'm working on it, yes. It's in the works.
Okay. So, guys, all her information will be in the description down below. Make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe. Hit the follow button first. So YouTube is not here yet, but you can definitely follow her on TikTok as well and check out her content. Very good content. I'm sitting there watching him get this grapes. It's just hilarious. It's so much fun, and it's so cool. Like, he is really excited for it too. So that's fun, and it's a different way of presenting our animals. People seeing the fun side of them, the energetic side, the not necessarily trainable, but see them work problems out. I love that on your channel. I love watching that on your TikToks and your Instagram videos. Very
Thank
much
you.
so. Um,
I appreciate that a
no
lot.
problem. No problem.
Enrichment is huge in this household, and some of my animals were not. Rocco, especially, was not handleable when I got him.
Hmm.
So it's rewarding to see them work and use their brains for sure.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I had a friend that had a green tree python that he was terrified of, so he never handled it. And it got mites, so he didn't know how to clean it and try to get the mites off. I was like, well, you kind of have to touch them. You're gonna have to touch them, and you're gonna have to help soak them. And I showed him how to take the slow time to take it off his perch and everything. And he was just amazed that the animal would just calm down once it got out of his cage and relaxed a little bit. He was like, it was always super defensive. I was like, well, because it's low, that's his home, so it's
Yeah,
protecting you. Once you took him out of it and let him get used to you, he calmed down. So you definitely have to take the time to not only get to know your animal, but let them get to know you as well. That's 100%.
exactly.
It's a trust on both sides. So you definitely have to do that.
I will say though, our boreal snakes do have that God complex. So as
So
soon
let
as
me
you get
convert
them
that.
out of their space, they're like, okay, like we're
Very
good.
true. Very true. But guys, if you haven't already, make sure you go follow her. Also, hit that like button. Apparently, YouTube likes it when you guys hit the like button. So if you could go ahead and hit that like button, it greatly appreciated. But we brought you on to get to know a little more about you. So we're gonna just jump right into some questions. Hopefully, I put them in the right space. Yeah, yeah. Did it come up? Yep, yep, I did. So, what was your first reptile?
So my first reptile was actually in a knoll. I got it in Florida. And this was before like airport security was like super high, and I ended up like putting him in a little butterfly like catcher, like a little bug container, and I brought
Okay,
him back
okay.
home, and I had him for like a little bit. I think I had him like a few years, and then my parents were like, no more. I had amphibians, so I had some frogs that I caught outside and would sneak into the house until they told me I had to get rid of it. But my first snake, I was actually laughing because this question made me think about it. My first snake was an Irangia carpet python. Um,
Oh, really?
and her name was Iris. Not Iris, oh my gosh. Her name was Kira. And she was a 7 foot Irangia carpet python that came into Pet World and was super nasty. So I just
Mhm.
started working with her, and I ended up buying her eventually, and I had her for quite a few years until my parents again found out and kicked the animal out. But
So how was your
yeah,
temperament after a while? Did she calm down? Was she still kind of mean or?
yeah, she was super cool. I loved her. Like, I know I don't do this now, but I used to take her a lot of places, and she would go for car rides, and she would like sit in her little like rock hide and like rest her head on the window. Like, I would never do any of this now, but when I was 16 years old, that was the
Hmm.
thing I was doing, and I loved her. She was a really great snake, and she made me less fearful of some of those bigger pythons and stuff because
Okay.
they get a bad rap sometimes, and especially when I worked at like a Pet World, like any of those like chain pet stores, people come in and they have horror stories of like keeping snakes and stuff. So kind of just like when you're new in the hobby, it kind of can make you a little nervous like working with those animals.
Very true.
But I've learned it's just learning the behavior of the animal. I mean, not like a specific set like genus or species, like the behavior is same all around. Like, yes, snakes do act a little different according to like each individual snake, but
Hmm.
majority of the time they kind of all act the same. And I think people just once you learn that behavior and how they work, it's just such a fluid motion.
Yeah, it's definitely learning your animal's movements, learning when they don't want to be touched, learning when they are okay with being touched. You actually have to take that time with that animal and watch how they move. how they there's certain signs you have to look for. The way they s up, the way they push you, they will push away from you if they don't want to be bothered. Those are the
Yes.
subtle signs that sometimes people don't pick up, and that's when you see people get bit, or the animals which they claim is attacking, which is they're defending themselves at that point.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be bothered. They gave you signs that they didn't want to be bothered, and you ignored those. So their ultimate result was that, oh, well, I have to bite you now, so you can get really understand. Leave me alone. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's very important to pay attention to your animals. Um, I can't stress that enough. This is, but you just
It is.
you,
They
it's
teach you the worst lessons too, because like when you think you're like feeling yourself too much and you're like,
yep.
yeah, like I can control this, that's when you get bit and that's when you slip up. And they're always humbling moments. I always say, like working with my animals, especially like
Very
my
human.
indigo snakes. Um, they are like the closest, I swear, to working with venomous, but not having venom, because they're just very attitude based, territorial,
Mm,
and you have to know the individual snake and like their behavior, like especially during breeding season. It's very important to know your individual animals.
mm. Very true. Very true. That's why I can't do venomous because I know I'm gonna mess up. I know I'm not paying attention all the time. So I need something that can bite me and I can survive it and not have to go to a doctor and not have to get a shot and not have
This is why
swelling.
tarantulas are great. They pack venom, but it's not going to put you in the hospital.
I was about to ask. That was a tarantula. I was about to ask. I know some of them are venomous. I just not. They're not super potent. So that I do want one. I do, but I'm doing a little more research. That's definitely important.
I
Well,
mean, you
side
tell me
note.
when you're ready and a pigtail might show up on your door.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Oh, I'm little. See, this is how I know I might be a little bit scared of them because I'm like I'm clapping my hands a lot. We're just talking about it, so that's not a good sign. So I got to get more familiar with them, learn more about them. Because that's what happened with snakes. I was not scared of snakes, but it was an animal I never had before. So I
Okay.
had a lot of questions about it, and once I did research and start learning about them, that feeling of uneasiness towards them started to dissipate, and I started to be more excited about learning about them and learning their behaviors and learning what they need and how to take care of them. It changed my perception of those animals. So maybe me learning more about tarantulas will start changing my perceptions of them as well.
That's what I think so awesome is exposure therapy. It's kind of like reverse too, because we have to like expose these animals and get them used to us over time while we're still getting used to them and their behavior
True.
for the time.
That is true. That is true. And animals have such amazing healing properties too that we don't often talk about. Like they are very they keep you relaxed. They help you deal with stuff, deal with the stress that you're already going through. They can be very therapeutic. I can't say that word. They can help
Therapeutic
you. There you
in
go.
lots of ways, yes. I call snakes weighted blankets.
I like that. I like. We gotta start get that trending. I like that. Um, all right, let's hit another question. So, what's your favorite two animals in your collection?
This was very hard for me. I would have to say Rocco is one of my favorites because Cyclura and Tenosaurus, just any of the iguanas, I love them. I go
Mm-hmm.
crazy for iguanas. I think they're awesome. I think they're ridiculous. They're just really fun to work with. And Cyclura's diet and where they're from, especially like shoreline creatures of the Caribbean, I mean, that's just awesome to me.
Mm-hmm.
And like if I could be a lizard, I would. That's come on. I would totally be in the Caribbean, scrapping on fish and different crabs and different stuff all day. Like I don't know. I just think that's so cool because they're so varied, and I think what's also nice about that is they're more forgiving than for keepers in captivity because so many iguanas, especially like the green iguanas, they can only have greens in their diet. And when you do mess that up, they get, liver failure. They can get a bunch of different stuff going wrong with that. And, you know, if Rocco gets a super worm that flies out of an enclosure, like, I'm not going to be like grabbing it from out of his throat because he's going to be getting sick or something like that. So I do think that's pretty cool. And then indigo snakes. That's like all day. I literally get so emotional when I talk about indigo snakes. They are what keeps me in this hobby and what keeps me excited every single day. That is my passion. Definitely.
Nice, nice. So I did have a question. This is not even one of the questions, but you name most of your animals. Do you have like
Yes.
a set way you name or come up with names, or how do you? Because I'm always interested in see how other people name their animals. Me myself, I name all my animals after anime, cartoon, and superhero characters because I'm a
Okay.
super nerd in that aspect as well. So that's where I combine those two passions and throw the names out there. So what about you? How do you come up with your names for your animals?
I would say majorly it would be Marvel superheroes, and then I do a lot of mythology. So I have some Egyptian mythology, I have some Greek mythology. Rocco came with his name.
Okay.
Erica McVeigh named him, and Erica McVeigh is like my mother, so there's no way I could ever change Rocco's name because he was her baby before he was mine. So he came with the name, and Sylvester Stallone, it's just like you can't not name a Cayman lizard
You
that.
gotta have some fun names. You gotta have them. I love it.
But yeah,
Nice.
I've got like the indigos, it's they kind of like the indigos, they have different names, but they're mostly Marvel based, but I do have like a few different ones thrown in there. Like X, she's actually named after DMX because X gonna give it to you if you go into her enclosure, like no doubt she'll light you up. So I love her. But some of them, they like earn their names and I have to like switch it up because it can't always fit with
Gotcha.
what it
'Cause
is.
I heard you say Morpheus, and I was like, oh, that's Matrix. Is that
Matrix.
is that what?
Yes.
It's really
Yes,
cool.
we
That's
I
really
used
cool.
to have a Niobe. That was one of my indigos. I rehomed her and I had a Neo at one point too and I sold him. But yeah, Matrix, grew up with Matrix. I used to have a Riddick. That's where Kiara came from, my carpet python. I watched a lot of action movies growing up as a kid, so I don't know. I've always reptiles, they're just like those big like bully characters always. So
Understandable.
if the shoe fits. But I mean, I think I do like my boas. I have Nirvana, Alice, and Cheshire. So Alice in Cheshire from Alice in Wonderland.
Mm,
'Cause Cheshire is just his colors are amazing, and he makes me smile every time. Um,
nice.
but yeah, they all have like mixed names, but some of them. Ozzy Osbourne's my ball python, my blue-eyed leucistic, because he's definitely always like, Sharon, I'm so confused.
I like that. That was good. I like when they're also creative and also ties into the animal. That shows you took time and you actually know that animal, so you know their little intricacies. I can't say that word, but you cater to their personality. Their name carries on to that, and that's you taking the time to get to know your animals. That's beautiful. That's just
Yes.
beautiful. Nice,
Like,
nice.
it might be weird, but every tarantula, every bug, everything's named here because it all has like its own like little personality.
Yep.
Most
Yep.
of my tarantulas are named after flowers because I love flowers.
Okay. Nice, nice. Um, so let's hit another question.
Oh,
So,
this one.
I know because I didn't realize how many different animals you do have. So I thought this question would fit, and now it definitely fits. So do you breed or buy all your animals' food? Do you make some stuff?
It is a mixed thing for sure. It's pretty easy. I go to the store once a week for fresh greens, and then probably once a month I go and I stock up. I go to the Asian market. I get frog legs, snails, shrimp, clams, oysters. Um, I've gotten like duck necks, quail eggs I go and get. We do a really varied diet in this household. No one gets like the same thing, the same like week ever, because that's picky eaters then. And the indigos are garbage disposal. So when it's breeding season, I strongly believe colubrids, when you read their diet and it says they eat everything, you need to feed them everything. If you get them fat on rats, when we're talking reproduction wise, if something is overweight and in the obese category, it is not going to be as reproductively sound and safe as something that is more in the athletic build. So I try to make sure during breeding season, especially, I hit them with rodent protein here and there, but a lot of it's lean protein. A lot of it's frog legs. They do quail eggs, ducks, chicks, quail. So yeah, frog legs are always so fun to feed. They go crazy for it. But trying to keep it different, getting chicken livers, turkey gizzards, and pretty much anything, and especially if it's on like clearance, and I can feed it to them the same day when it's about to be feed. Oh yes, in my cart. But I do breed dubias.
Okay.
Because the Fraileys, oh my gosh, frail dragons, they are awesome and I love them so much. But every time I have them in my care, and because I own them half with my best friend Dan Thomas, who used to own Animal House in McGuanago, and so when I have them and I'm doing everything for them, I'm just like, you guys are pigs. So they eat a lot of dubias, but fortunately I can breed. And I do work at a reptile store in Illinois, which is Chief Reptile. And the owner is very, very nice and gives me a good deal when I get dubias. So
okay, nice.
Sometimes I need to restock because my pigs will eat me out of house and home. Especially when they had these babies. I think it was when I was raising the babies again. I was like, oh my gosh, like you guys are bottomless pits.
Wow. So you got so many different diets going on for you. So how are your more green eating animals? So do you said you go once a week to get the greens and stuff for them?
Yeah, so I go once a week to Tony's, which is like a local fresh like market. I rotate his greens, but a lot of the greens are endive, escarole. He gets a little bit of romaine, turnip greens, mustard greens, dandelions. He usually gets about 4 or 5 different greens, and then I mix it up that week. And I'll mix in like kale and spinach a little bit here and there. He gets like basil, parsley. He'll get like little like toppings. This week he got rosebud petals, and he's digging that. The first day he flipped it over with his tail, but then he ate it, and I was like, yeah, you like it. But yeah, so I'll do that. I'll get different vegetables. Like Rocco, he does not say no to anything. Like I do okra, radicchio, turnips. We try to just like switch it up. I do carrots and stuff sometimes. I'm a nut. I like when I find out like certain stuff, like carrots are high in oxalates, and that prevents calcium absorption in reptiles. So like I try to not do too much of that. Same with the spinach and the kale. But he likes it, so he gets it as a treat, and it's just like everything's fine in moderation. So he gets a very mixed diet, but his salads always consist of his greens, and then I'll throw a protein or something. And it's sometimes nice having a dog because I'll just get like salmon dried treats and stuff and throw that on as a topper, and they share stuff, so that's nice.
That's cool. So the tarantulas, they only eat other insects, correct?
Yes, I have fed them pinky mice as a treat here and there for some of my bigger avicularia. Because in the wild they eat like birds. So if they need a little bit of protein source, I don't think that's wrong. But yeah, majority they get dubias and hornworms I'll do here and there just to give them some extra hydration.
That's a So you do a lot of like, well, technically it would be meal prepping throughout the week, right? So you get everything together, get the salads together, make them up, cut everything up. So, oh wow, that's
Yep. So he's got like Rocco's got his own bins in the fridge, and then when I graduated from college, my parents asked me what I wanted for graduation, and I was like, I want a chest freezer for all of my rodents, because that was like my one complaint in college was like my roommate was so cool about that. By the way, is like I would have like a section for my rodents and stuff for like my tegu, and I had an indigo at the time that I was rehabbing. So he was really cool about that. But when you have as many as I have, they take up a good amount of your freezer. So I got a little chest freezer, and I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment. So it's like shoved in a little nook, and I have all of the reptile food in there. But Rocco's stuff has, I went to Home Goods and got him his own like special bins that stay like aerated so the greens don't like go bad throughout the week.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart because you got to be smart about it. You want to keep the food fresh. You want to make sure it's fresh for them, so when they do eat it, they're eating good food. So you got to be able to store it properly. So that makes perfect sense.
And nothing really goes to waste here because, like, when I have extra scraps and stuff, I give it to like the roaches and stuff, so they eat everything. And the frillies do get greens. They just don't. They eat them probably 3 times a week, where Rocco, it's a daily thing for him. It's like he wakes up and craves salad, which I strive to be that way.
Ecosystem, like, so when like anybody don't eat certain greens, you could give it to the bugs and have them eat on it. You have a whole ecosystem almost.
Yes. Oh, and I have my Fly River turtle who eats greens, a lot of greens too. So I do go through like a good amount of greens. I rip him off like leaves, he's got his own bin too. And then Rocco's salad and the frillies, I chop their salad for them.
Nice. Okay, guys. So it is time for tip of the week, guys. If you don't know what tip of the week is, that's when I put a post up on my YouTube, Instagram, and my Facebook. And under that post, all you have to do is put a tip for life, reptiles, YouTube, anything you want, as long as it's PG. Let's keep it PG. Kids watch this sometimes. But any tip you have, and whichever comment gets the most likes, will get featured on the next Under 1,000 podcast, and you get a shout out. So without further ado, here is this week's tip of the week.
This week's tip of the week comes from Tucker from Purple Rain Reptiles. He says, if you ain't first, you're last. Ricky Bobby. Love the movie. Hilarious movie. Definitely go watch it. Thanks for that tip. It doesn't help, but it makes us laugh. And that's one of the most important things, joy. Thanks for that tip, Tucker. Go check him out on his Instagram. And that has been this week's tip of the week.
All right, guys, that is this week's tip of the week. Go check them out on their Instagram or their Facebook, because we're not sure what tip it is, because this is pre-recorded. So we'll find out what that tip is later. But yes, if you're interested, definitely make sure you put a comment on the next one so you get shown on the podcast and get shout out. You get shouted out. But we're going to get back into the questions once I find them. Even pre-recorded, I still forget what my questions are, people. So this is not live, but hey, we all mess up. So what got you into doing animal education?
Animal education, I would say mostly my friend Dan Thomas got me into it because he kind of opened the door for it. He would bring me to like birthday parties and stuff, and I would get to show kids like different animals and educate them. But I think what like kept me in education mostly was seeing kids light up for the first time, like when I got to hold like an alligator in Florida, or like just a snake at a local like sanctuary or something, like because reptiles I think are not for everyone. So especially when you see kids that are kind of introverted or recluse and kind of just like not the life of the party, but they're still a person and they need interaction to a degree. So it's cool to see that certain animals like a lizard or a snake or a frog can make a kid light up, just like I did when I saw frogs, like when I was a kid for the first time.
Right. That is very true. I remember at school they had like an animal day, and people brought in animals. We had a animal like trainer guy come in. He didn't have a lot of different animals, but he had some that I had never seen in person. So that was cool, interesting. I actually wanted to be a vet growing up. That was one of the five things I kept rotating through that I wanted to do when I grow up. Was one of them was being a vet because I love to deal with animals. I love finding out about animals. So I was like, I could be an animal doctor. I could probably do that. And then of course life hits you and you start getting out to the real world and you're like, I gotta go work. I gotta make money. I gotta pay for this. So dreams kind of start to get a little smaller. But
Yeah.
I'm still working with animals in my own way now, so that's exciting. But I do understand. I had one of my friends brought his son over my house, and I introduced him to a snake, and he fell in love with the snakes. He hit me up every like other week asking me about the snakes and when he could come back over. And his parents finally said he can get a snake, so
Yeah.
now he has a snake from me, and he is
Oh,
super excited about the snake. Um, so Owen, if
yeah,
you're
that's
hearing this,
awesome.
how's the snake doing? I hope the snake's doing good. Yeah, he likes it. I know he's still young, so hopefully that passion for animals stays there. Because as a young kid, you go through phases with stuff, so
Yeah.
I can understand that. But it was just cool to see him excited about the animals, from going from kind of scared of snakes to oh, I'm holding the snake. It is so amazing to see that in the little kid's eyes. It's amazing
Yeah.
to see that. So
And I mean, I've even went to nursing homes and shown old, like elderly people,
okay,
reptiles and educated them about them and stuff. And it's just like cool to see them light up. And some of them, they're like, whatever. But like by the end of it, they're like holding them and they're up in it and they're excited. And I think it's just like cool because, like, I mean, we're talking about like you remember when you had an animal educator come to your school. Like, that's something that hits you as a
yep,
kid. So, like, if you can just open that door for someone, or like as when I would go to a nursing home, like reignite that passion in someone,
hmm,
it's really cool to see, like, no matter like the age, honestly, with animal education, because I think they can invoke a lot of different people of all ages.
definitely, definitely. And I think also when you teach people about animals they're sometimes afraid of or have a phobia of or have just a rumor of what they might be doing, it kind of takes away that fear. The more you
Hmm.
learn about something, the less it becomes this giant monster to you anymore. It gets smaller and more obtainable there. So
Exactly.
teaching people about these animals instead of the ideas they get from TV and movie and rumor mills, teaching them actual things about these animals seems to open people's eyes to these animals and get them to want to learn more about them and not have such fear of them. Um,
Yeah. When I
that's a
would
big
like
thing.
work, I would volunteer for Madison Area Herpetological Society in Wisconsin, back when I lived in Milwaukee. And I would do different events. And I would always like say, like, even when I did birthday parties, though, it's like if I started with someone that was 100% scared of that animal when they walked in, if I could get that to 97 by the time they left, I did my job and that animal did its job. And like that's what's important, is you just help people desensitize and slowly get used to that these animals aren't there to harm you. They're actually helping you a lot more than you think. And
Hmm.
the less scary we portray these animals, like the less we do just the big shock factor and like
Yeah,
just placing snakes on people and just
yeah.
putting that shock factor into people and showing people that they are just very chill, understanding animals, that they're just there to educate as much as we're there to educate those people. I mean, they don't love us. They don't want to be there because I'm their dad or I'm their mom. Like they don't care about any of that. But it's just that understanding with that animal that it goes to that show and it tolerates all of that handling, and then
Hmm.
you bring those percentages down to more people understanding those animals. Like, I mean, that's what's just so cool about animal
Very
education
true.
and why it's needed.
Yeah, very true, very true. I I kind of want to do some education. I was talking to somebody about it. Cause I mostly just have ball pythons. Actually, I
Mhm.
only have ball pythons. So I would want to have somebody that has other animals too that we can do it together and kind of like. Because I want to be able to teach them multiple different animals to give
Mhm.
people so many different perspectives of animals they might not ever come in contact with and get to learn a little bit about them. Um, so maybe down the road I can meet somebody that has a bigger selection of animals than I do, different species as well. Maybe we can team up that way because it is important for us to do that within our own community. To do that to show other people outside of our community what these animals are about and why we love them so much and why we have them so they can see them from a different perspective. One of the reasons cats and dogs are so mainstream because people took the time to make them more accessible to everyone. And the easier we make reptiles mainstream, reptiles, spiders, lizards, all these different species that we love, let other people see them, it'll be a lot easier for us to not have lawmakers making rules against not having them because they'll
Yeah.
be more mainstream and be less fear and they can't fearmonger people into why we need to stop letting people have these animals and it'll
Yes.
keep us in the space we love to be in is being with these animals. So
Yes.
that's
And
one of
that's
my
like
goals.
that's a big goal for me too, actually, and that's why I want to like kind of grow into a YouTube platform to some degree because I'm super big on husbandry and enrichment and just keeping these animals properly because so many people think we keep them in shoe boxes, we don't keep them properly, we don't give them UV, we don't do certain things, and there are a lot of people in the hobby that do. Breeders, there's it's a different situation, but that's when we need to educate and we need
Mm-hmm.
to tell people like when we're doing those big YouTube videos with like the big breeders and they have like racks behind them, we need to like make people know that that's not the normal for
Exactly.
the typical pet owner getting into the
Exactly.
hobby. They're going to be setting it up in a bioactive tank, giving it overhead lighting, and they're going to be giving it UV because
Yep.
these animals do utilize it and they do use it where they are found.
Yep.
So I think pushing more people to understand we keep these animals just as good as we keep mammals
Mm-hmm.
is going to be very helpful for our fight. I mean, I volunteer for any US ARC auction I can do. Keeping these animals is so important to me because this is my passion and this is what I love. And like when we do these education, when those people then come to vote on if we keep these animals or not, I'm hoping I stuck in their head or my snake stuck in their head, my tegu did. Like they're gonna think of Morpheus or Rocco, and they're gonna say, I think they should be able to keep them because they take amazing care of these animals.
Yep.
They love these animals,
Yep.
and I want more people in the hobby to like, especially big breeders, to just like push for that because like so many big breeders are needed. Like they're the reason like I've been in the hobby now,
Mm-hmm.
and they keep the new morphs coming and the new things coming. They keep the education. I mean, just like all of the different breeders that I've been able to like go and pick their brains at like different shows and stuff, I'm forever so grateful for it because there's a lot of animals I didn't get because I was able to talk to these people and figure out what animal fit right for me.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't continue to keep fighting for our rights to keep these animals and showing people that we love them and keep them properly, it's just like kind of for a waste because I don't know, it's a really beautiful community. And I think when we can showcase the really good things of it, um, we would be unstoppable. We wouldn't come up always on the hit list for everything, but
Very true.
we always will have a target on our back. But I think it would make it a little easier if we as a whole would just shift towards like showing what the average pet owner with the bioactive and keeping
Yep.
these animals properly long term is just going to be better for us as a whole.
Definitely. Definitely. That's why one of the things I push on my channel is positivity. So one, be positive, show the good stuff. We can talk about the bad stuff. Let people know there is bad stuff keeping animals. Sometimes they don't make it. Sometimes they pass away. Sometimes they get infections. These things happen. But be ready for that. But also show the positives of not only animals but the people in the industry as well. Like try to help each other. Like it's been so much more information passing on to people, less of oh I'm just holding on to this because I don't want you to get it. People are sharing information, helping each other be better keepers, better breeders, and do better things for the animals. That's the things I want to see in the community, and that's the things that help us keep growing in a positive way. Like
Yeah,
we can grow, but we do need to grow in a positive way. We can't grow in a negative way. So
exactly.
definitely agree with that. Definitely 100%. Um, so let's hit another question. Ooh, did I push it? I pushed it. Okay,
Oh,
so what
kind
is
of touched on
something? Yes,
it.
you definitely did. So what is something you would like to achieve with your social media this year?
So I want to expand myself and kind of do what you're doing a little bit, and I want to pick at different people's brains on husbandry, lighting, just care, everything that comes in supplementation. I'm a huge fan of Nectin Supplements, which is a German company. They started with aviary products and then they started making reptile products. And
Okay.
since switching to these products, I have noticed a huge difference in my animals. But I also use VivTech lighting, which is UVA and UVB. And learning about how reptiles see their world in UVA is just it's been an eye opener to me for keeping them, and like it made me like feel bad about like keeping some of my animals and like the rack and like certain stuff like that. Now like raising certain species, or like if I'm quarantining something, 100% it's going to go in the rack because it just destimulates all the stress and everything. And sometimes it is helpful for keeping certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just reptiles see their world in UVA, like lizards. I mean, all of them, they have third eyes. So it's like a rainbow effect. I mean, when we have snow on the ground, you see your reptiles, they're going towards the door because outside it's just a rainbow. It's beautiful and it looks amazing. And I think like that's what I'm just trying to push towards is educating more people about that, because since doing that myself, I mean, I I've gotten 2 clutches of indigos. I've bred Australian frilled dragons. My Iridactylodes, they're popping off. My animals are happier. And I had snakes that I was like, oh, they just like live in gopher holes and they never come out because that's what indigo snakes do. No, this morning, Apocalypse, my male, was out on his branch under his VivTech light getting his bask on before he started his day. So it's just really cool to see because there's animals that I was like, I've never seen them. And like my crested gecko, he comes out in the middle of the day because he has VivTech and he's just like, oh, I'm gonna, I'm gonna cryptic bask right now. And I'm just like, okay, dude, like get your bask on, Gollum. And then my Leachianus, people always say they don't really see their Leachianuses, and I see mine. As soon as I feed him, he comes out, and spray him, he comes out. Like now when I go in the enclosure, he's just much more alert and active. Now if he's in a cork too, yeah, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
But he's much more alert, and it's been very interesting to see. So yeah, there's just quite a few things, and I want to pick people's brains, like more people that study cyclura, more people that study caiman lizards specifically, because that's what I strive to do every single day is be a better keeper
Mm-hmm.
for my animals. And just Australian frills in general, they don't live that long in captivity, so that's been a goal of mine to figure out what we're missing to prevent that renal failure and just other organ failures that we do come upon with keeping frills in captivity. And a big thing I come back to, which I could totally be wrong, is they eat a lot of locusts and eucalyptus in Australia. So a lot of the fauna is eucalyptus. So I don't know if there's a component in eucalyptus that helps
Mm-hmm.
them to a certain degree, or if it's something that the insects are eating besides the eucalyptus. But like that's why I want to like pick someone's brain that knows more than I know, because I want to give them the best life possible, and I want to make sure that I'm reproducing them and not tapping them out because I'm not supplementing them of what they need or
Yeah.
what they would be getting in the wild. It's
Look at
awesome to
that.
have babies, but it's awesome to have snakes that are 20 plus years old that are just thriving.
Very true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I never even thought about the aspect of not what they're eating, but what they're eating is eating. Like that could be a whole nother thing that we're missing. That is why they're not surviving as long in captivity. Oh wow.
It's
Hmm.
just like a lot of different like things that like I don't know. I watch my animals a lot when I have free time, and like there's just certain things that just make my brain go, and that's like one of the things for me that I always come back to. So I just want to open up a platform so maybe I can meet more people. I can
Hmm.
educate more people. I would love to educate more people about indigo snakes. I think everyone's sleeping on indigo snakes. I think they are the funnest colubrid that you can work with. I mean, they are totally poop cannons, but I definitely love just their alertness, their activeness, and their drive. Like the way they eat, how fast they eat. They'll have a chick foot like still hanging out their mouth, and they'll go to grab the other one. Like they're really really cool animals, and I think a lot more people would have fun working with them to a degree, because a lot of people want to work with venomous, I think, because they're like, oh, it's cool, it's edgy, but then it's just like
Yeah.
this is a really fun way to work with an animal that's going to give you attitude, but like not going to send you to the hospital and then cost zoos and all these people money because you
Yeah.
decided to get bit by your animal and
Very true.
decided not to use certain protocols. I mean, that's just how I feel. I love venomous snakes, and I mean, I'm a big fan of a lot of venomous keepers, and I think there are a lot of very smart, handlers. But I always do think that's like the wow factor of the internet. When you're posting, you're able to do it. A lot of people are like, well, I'm able to do it. And if
Yeah.
you go to a local show and there's a spitting cobra for, I don't know, 100, $200,
Yeah.
what's gonna put you against taking a ball python home if you can get a spitting cobra that looks cool? So like
Very.
that's where I try to push some of the snakes that are spicier. There's a lot of colubrids that are spicier, and they are technically like rear fang to a degree. So like, I mean, it's not gonna put you in the hospital, but like, it's gonna. I mean, I've been bit by my 6 foot male, and it took about 20 minutes for it to stop bleeding.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so when they want to bite and chew, it's a very powerful, incredible snake.
Oh wow. So I definitely think you should definitely have a YouTube channel. Like
Thank
just you, the educational aspect of it will be huge. There's quite a few educational YouTube channels, but I don't know if they have your passion. So that's gonna set you apart because you're so passionate about it. You can hear it in your voice when you're talking about it. So that in itself will bring people to you. And I know your Instagram is just skyrocketing right now. So if you just slowly start your YouTube and you start getting people to go over from Instagram to YouTube, yeah, I can see that just getting just as popular. And also you be able to reach so many more people. You open your span of people that you can reach and get them to learn about these animals and bring more of the spotlight on animals that you feel that people aren't as interested in or don't know as much about. So that's definitely a road you should go down. When do you think you plan on starting the YouTube?
I'm hoping by like after Tinley, I am able to like refocus and get it
Mm-hmm.
all set up. I've just been moving so many stuff around, and I still have the baby furlies I'm trying to get homes for, and then I did just get a clutch of indigo eggs again. So like I've been just watching that stuff. So I try to like focus on that stuff when I'm working with it, because I've made mistakes before and I haven't given it 100% focus, and it bites me in the butt
Yeah.
majorly. So um, these animals are giving me eggs, and they're doing their part. So like I need to get my act together and do my part. So
Understandable. Very much understandable. So guys, just so you know, this is going up Tinley weekend. So we will be at Tinley. So if you see us, come say hi, come snap a picture, definitely come chat with us. If I'm in a corner, don't mind me. I just need to take a breath and get away from people. My anxiety got real high. Just give me 2 seconds and I'll come back over and say hi. So don't worry about that. I'm just freaking out a little bit. I just need to breathe. But definitely come say hi. We'll be at Tinley. I'm going to be there Friday and Saturday. When are you going to be there? Are
I
you
will
going to
be
be
there
there
all weekend.
all
I'm
weekend?
gonna help
Okay.
VivTech set up, and then I will be helping USARC all weekend
Okay.
because I just love volunteering for USARC, and then I get to like run around and collect, auction items and stuff, and I get to
Mm-hmm.
see people then, like, so then I have an excuse to like stop at their booth and stuff. So it's just like nice for me because like some people like that I don't even know are there. Sometimes I meet because I'm like going to talk to them just about USARC, and even if they tell me to piss off and they don't want to like donate, like at least I get to like see if they have. Like I like got to see some really cool spiders one time because I was like, I have never seen your table. So like it's just like it's fun sometimes. So I will
Nice.
definitely be there. I couldn't miss Tinley. That was the first reptile show I ever did, was like big one was 2019 Tinley, when I finally got out of Wisconsin. So I
Okay.
took a look at it and I'll always be going.
Yeah, I think that was my first Tinley. Was 2019. Yeah. Was it 2019 or was it 2018? It might be 2019. I think so. Yeah, it's a great show. It's a great show. So many things are happening. If you ever get a chance to go to Tinley, definitely go to Tinley. It doesn't matter if it's the March or the October one; they're both chaotic and amazing at the same time. So definitely make one if you can. We'll be there. But yeah, I would also suggest popping that camera out during Tinley, just doing some vlogging, just to get that content ready for it, so you get ready for the YouTube. Just some put on your mind. Just put a camera out and start recording yourself while you're walking around. I,
I'm gonna
I'm
try. Make sure
it's
you smack
super.
me if I'm not filming. Be like, what
Trust
are
me,
you doing,
I don't
girl?
do it either. I'm still trying to get over. Like I can film myself in my room, no problem. In public, it's weird. I'm still trying to get over that weirdness of it to film
There's a
myself in
lot going
public.
on, though.
It's so
I
much.
mean, like, there's so many people, and with Emily coming to all of these shows now, there's like she brings like a whole crowd with
She
her.
does.
So I mean, and it's awesome. It's so
It
awesome. I
is.
think it's awesome. I know
It
some people
is.
are upset about it, but I think it's really cool that she's bringing as many people as she is to like showcase what we're doing. Like I said, we need the average people in the
Mm-hmm.
community that are into
Mm-hmm.
reptiles to support our mission, and this
Yep.
is supporting our mission. So I'm gonna try my best to be filming too, but I'm like I swear I'm an airhead because I'm just always so in the moment. Like I tell people they need to say hi to me because it's not that I don't like want to say hi to people. I don't take pictures, like really. I'm always telling people to send me pictures because to post for after Tinley, because I just it's always just so great to see everyone. It's just like a
Yeah.
big family. I mean,
Yeah.
it's never been, at least for me when I worked it was never like a ton of money came in when I like helped with different tables, but it was like the marketing and then the
Mm-hmm.
money that comes in afterwards from it. I mean, it's worth it. Like you can't say Tinley is not it, because
Yeah.
is it?
It's definitely promotion. It's definitely
Yes.
getting your face out there, getting your brand out there, actually meeting people one on one, letting them see you and talk to you in person. It's a whole different aspect than them sending you a message online or texting you about an animal or watching a video about an animal.
Hmm.
Seeing it in person is a whole different aspect, and it's that experience. Hey guys, calm down. Chihuahuas, they just go crazy. It's that experience, that one-on-one experience that people don't realize they want until it happens at a show. So it's definitely worth going to a show to get that
And we
experience.
need the interaction. Like, come on, reptile people. We're so introverted so much of the time. It's just like, I'm an introverted extrovert. That's what I tell people all the time. Like Tinley, like shows and stuff, that's like when I come out of my little cocoon and I have fun, because that is what it's about. And like, there's like so many people where, yeah, when you talk to them online, and it's just like some of the interactions, yeah, you can get into like little passionate like discussions and stuff, but it's not like, it doesn't have that same emotion as when you're like face to face with that someone. Like some of like my midnight talks at like Tinley like just have been like, I've learned so much, and just like, it's just been a huge growing experience for me. Like I have skipped doing so much stupid stuff. And I mean, I've done stupid stuff, don't get me wrong, but I have avoided a lot of disasters with certain animals and stuff because I talked to the right people and I hanged with the right crowd. And that's a big thing though I want to like say about Tinley. Like it can be cliquey sometimes, but that's the big thing we got to work on too, is just like, you just need to be you, come in and show us why you're passionate about these animals, because then there's never going to be any conflict. That's just how I feel about it, because we're all there for the same thing. We all love these animals. That's what gets us up out of bed every morning. So I mean, we can't ask for a better weekend than to fill a whole entire convention center with crazy reptile people.
Very true, very true. It is so much fun. It can be overwhelming. There's so many people, but trust me, it is well worth it. It is well worth it. Speaking from an introvert who is good in small groups, I'm great in small groups. I can be the life of the party in a small group. When I get around multiple people, I kind of shrivel up a little bit, but
you got that Chihuahua energy.
I got this. This is true. There's so many people that are, all right, let me go find a corner, get away from everybody. But it is definitely worth going. Definitely worth going. Definitely try to make a trip. Even I'm trying to actually go to even other bigger shows out of state.
Yes.
It's just,
you gotta do like Pomona,
yeah,
Daytona.
I want to go to Daytona. It's just the planning aspect of that.
Arlington is amazing.
Arlington's really good. I heard it's really fun. So definitely gonna try to.
I missed Arlington, and I have FOMO.
Understandable. And seeing all the pictures and the videos, you're like, oh, I should have went. Darn it, I should have went.
Yes. It's okay. We just give everyone those hearts and make sure that they know that we're there in spirit.
Definitely. So here is the last question from me. You guys can't answer questions because this is pre-recorded, but maybe if you put them in the chat, she can answer them later. We never know. Just throw it in there. Any questions you might have for her. But my last question: what is your dream animal to have?
Okay, so my dream animal, is a Cyclura lewisi. And that's the Cayman blue iguana, but that is illegal, unfortunately, unless the Cayman government would just allow me to have one. But I would love a hybrid, because Cyclura are just, they're, like I said, they're it for me. They're just such a really cool animal. I love monitors. Like I would love tree monitors in the future, or maybe like a Kingorum or a Pilbarensis. Like I like the smaller Dapture monitors and stuff. I used to want a lace monitor and like a water dragon, or the black dragon, I mean. But I ended up, I don't know, I don't know if it's when I got older or like what, maybe I'm more boring, but I just like watching animals a lot more and like just like seeing how they like work in that way. So like for the monitors, I just like really respect the like smaller species that are more like reclusive and they do their thing. I mean, tree monitors are inquisitive, but I think that's just what I like, is they interact with you when they want to, but then they kind of just do their own thing. Like iguanas, like Rocco can be kind of needy sometimes. Like when he like wants something, he's like a cat. So I think that's, I don't know, but yeah, Cyclura lewisi for sure. Another iguana. I know it's probably kind of lame, but I just think that a big blue lizard is just amazing.
Hey, if this is what you like, that's what you like. There's nothing wrong with that. So you said they're illegal for us to own unless given
Pure,
permission.
pure lewisi, yes. So you can
Okay.
have hybrids. They're usually crossed with like Cubans,
Okay.
or I don't know what if they cross them with rhinos. I could be completely wrong. I do know they cross them though in captivity, and they sometimes have really high blue, even compared to the ones that are like true lewisi.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there's a few like Cyclura if the governments would allow me to own them.
Hmm.
I would have them in every crevice of my house that I could fit like tall cages like in closets because they're just so cool.
Okay. So how big do they get?
So males usually stop at about 4 feet from like tail to like tip or
Okay.
tip of the nose to the tail. But they just get like wider set. Like they're kind of just like the bulldogs of the iguanas. You
Gotcha.
know how people breed those pocket pitties that are,
Yeah.
you know, that's kind of just like what they remind me of. Like it's not
Okay.
an abomination of breeding, but they're just built like little brick houses, and I just love it. And their intelligence level. And if I start my YouTube, one of the things in the making is Rocco is super smart, so I do like courses with him to a degree. Like I've gotten him to like go
Um,
around buckets and stuff. So I kind of want to order him an agility kit and see like how far we can go with that.
yeah, that'd be
Um,
cool.
so yeah, there's some different things like in the making as far as that goes, because like I just like to work animals' brains like that,
Mhm.
and it would just be cool to see if he can do it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely cool to see him interact with it, figure it out, see him actually in the moment figuring things out. That would definitely be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I bought him that cat tree. I'm sure you've seen it on Instagram, and it took him like 2 times. I like showed him with food, lured him up, how to like get up, and he got it right away. And that's he's literally in this entire podcast. He's been sleeping in his cat tree. I like brought his fruit down and everything because I was like, maybe he'll come out and I can like show people, but he has been tuckered out the entire time in
That's
his
nice.
little home. If I can turn it a little bit, but I don't know if you can see his little gray body in that
Oh
little house
yeah.
up
Okay.
there. But
Yeah.
he's tuckered out for.
Oh wow.
He's a smart dude, so it'd be
Yeah.
cool.
I think that'd be a good like. That'd be a good segment on your YouTube channel too. Just let's see what Rocco can figure out today or figure out this week. That's a segment in itself. See, this YouTube thing is writing itself. There
I
we go.
know. I just need to get him to do my taxes, and then we're good.
Rocco's taxes. That would be great. Fly on his words. I love
Well, I
it.
mean, it was so funny because when I first moved into the place, he started pooping all over the floor, like, and so I got him litter box trained now, but it was just so funny because I was like, you need to start, buying paper towels or pay rent, dude. And I think like a few months later is when we went viral then for his chasing grapes video, and then I got monetized on Instagram, and I mean, they don't pay you a lot, but they gave me some money, and I was like,
Exactly.
I
Now
see you, Rocco. I was like, no, he listened.
before you were like, look, I got you. Let me.
I was like, I'll back off a little.
I like that. I like that. Okay. So speaking a little bit about the social media, how has that just the takeoff of it for you? Because I know it kind of just didn't just suddenly happen. It was kind of gradually, but it just kind of shot up real fast. How was that for you? With that all that new attention and everything.
It was a little overwhelming. it's kind of like emotional though too, because my like whole thing with Rocco is kind of emotional. I got him when I was going through a really, really hard time in my life, and I like picked up and moved my entire life from Wisconsin to Illinois, and he was just at the house that I moved into. So it was just a very emotional roller coaster because I was really wounded and hurt, and I know it's cheesy, but we both were really in a not good space mentally, or I mean, physically he was fine. I physically was not great, but we just weren't in a good spot. So we grew together, and like I said, the relationship we have now is just like incredible. He's not. I mean, he's a jerk. But I love him. Like I feel like no one else would really put up with the stuff that I put up with. I mean, I used to put on welding gloves just to like go and give him his salad and change his water because he would dive bomb me and like he was just, and he would, when he would bite, he would just death roll immediately. So it was just like always spinning, and he did slice me a few times. Like I never posted it because I don't want people to see the bad side of it.
Yeah.
Now, if I was doing an educational post and like talking about something with like behavior, because it was a hormonal behavior moment for him. I mean, I was moving his blueberries, so like he's a jerk for that. But it was a hormonal territorial thing at the time, and I was being a jerk and not paying attention to my animal's body language. And I got bit because I was being dumb and I wasn't listening to what he was telling me. Gotcha. Because I was just like, whatever, Rocco, do your thing. And he grabbed my hand because I wasn't paying attention. So there's just like a lot of things with social media where like I get nervous because I don't want people, like I do get upset if someone's like, well, you're upsetting your animal, or you're doing this, and it's just like you're gonna judge me off of a 10-second clip when I've like raised this animal like out of the egg. Like my frilled dragons are imported from Germany from babies, and I've raised them from 2019 and 2020, and I raised them all up and like bred them, and now I have their children. So like, especially when someone like comes for something like that, it's just like you have no clue. And like I mean, you can tell from talking to me, I'm a mama bear with like these guys, so like I protect like what is mine, and I just don't want people ever giving someone a reason to come for our rights for keeping reptiles, especially. Like I never want to be that shock wow factor for someone to be like, oh, iguanas are scary, or oh, snakes are scary, because I rather show people the good side, the funny sides, the ups, the downs, the truth of keeping reptiles, because I wasn't shown the truth into getting reptiles. I don't think people talk about it. Like my first tegu that I owned, he may have had a genetic thing because his clutch mate had the same issue, but he had a blockage and ended up dying. But I fed him a lot of stuff I shouldn't have fed him. Like he ate a guinea pig. And no one talks about guinea pigs, but the fur, the way that their fur is designed is for mammals not to eat them. And it actually gets stuck and causes blockages in animals because their fur can't be broken down by a lot of animals. So like there's certain stuff that like I learned that now I'm like, you know what, I do better. And Morpheus is a beast. Morpheus is a badass. But Calypso will always be remembered. And it's not something that I need to like post about or make sad or anything. But it's just like if someone messages me at 10 o'clock at night and they're freaking out about something with their tegu or their caiman lizard or their rhino iguana, I want to be that person that helps that person, because I hated when I would go and reach out to someone, we're like, oh, you messed up, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. And it's just like, yeah, but I'm trying to learn so I can do better.
Exactly. I could totally understand that. A lot of keepers don't realize the power that social media has, good and bad. There's a lot of positives you can do with social media, but you also can do a lot of hurt with social media at the same time.
So and I never want to do hurt, and I never do, because it's just, and even like I don't want to get in fights with people. I don't want to have those disagreements, because like, I mean, I stay off of Facebook for that reason. Like all those groups, like I used to be in like the Tegu admin group, and I used to go off on people, and it's just like, we are all keyboard krakens, people. Like, wake up. Like, we need to, like, make sure that we're supporting each other and
Yeah.
not putting each other down, because I'm sorry, the wild shifts all the time. So if you're gonna be like, this is the only way you can keep a reptile, no, there's 100+ ways to keep a reptile. If you can't hatch ball python eggs when there's 100+ ways to hatch ball python eggs, you need to take a break, honey, and re-educate yourself, because those eggs are gonna hatch under rain, wind, storm. I mean, there's just certain things where I don't want to beat people down. I want to lift them up, because I want them to contribute to the hobby. I don't want them to bash the hobby.
Very well said. Very well said. Well, is there anything you would like to promote? We're at Tinley right now, so we can't promote that. We'll be at Tinley. But anything you got coming up, let people know about your Instagram, TikTok, the future YouTube channel you're working on, anything you got coming up, any shows you might be going to, local or out of state. Let people know. Let them know where they can find you and all those good places.
So, Tinley will be in the past. I will always be at every Tinley, because I am local. And then I will be at Arlington, the next Arlington for sure. I'm going to try to get out to Pomona, the Reptile Super Show, and then Daytona, the breeder conference. I will definitely be there, because I just love the beach, and it's nice to be there and see people. As far as my YouTube and everything goes, I'm going to work as hard as I can on it to get it out by after March. I really want to work towards promoting Dream and Indigo. So Dream and Indigo is my business name, and I never really talk about it or promote it yet, because it's really, I tread lightly. I'm breeding the indigos, but I'm holding all of them back at this point, so none of them are for sale. And the frillies are part of that as well. So as soon as I get my logo done and everything all planned out, I'm going to launch that. But my YouTube should be the same name, boelizard. But the headline will be Dream and Indigo, my business name. And then Instagram and TikTok, I'm always just going to be doing the same silly stuff I always do. Education, I always want people to reach out to me. I never want people to be afraid to private message me. I never answer right away usually, unless I'm free at home, and don't have reptile poop to scrape off of a wall. But I answer when I can. So I always just tell people to be patient with me and to never be afraid to reach out, because no question is stupid, because I guarantee I would ask the same question. If not 6 months ago, I asked it a few years ago or even a week ago. So like, that's the cool thing about learning. And yeah, I just really, really want people to know that about my platform is you're never going to be judged. Because I guarantee if you're doing it, I probably did it, and it probably didn't turn out too well, but we'll make sure that like you don't have to go through all of the stuff, that you went through or what I went through, because it kind of sucks sometimes.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I like that. All right, guys, definitely check her out. But before we go, we got to say thank you to our monthly sponsor for this episode. So without further ado, here is our sponsor.
This month's sponsor is Flawless Exotic Creation. Will and Audra are a wife and husband team that left their career in law enforcement to pursue their passion of crested gecko breeding, and now they're pursuing another passion of ball python breeding, and they are hitting the ball python market by storm, picking up amazing morphs such as Clown, Ultrapide, Stranger, Wookie, and Monsoon. You definitely want to check it out, because you could go look at their YouTube and see them unbox these beautiful animals. So definitely go subscribe to their channel and check them out. Thanks again, Flawless Exotic Creations, for being a sponsor for this month. Greatly appreciated.
All right, guys, thanks for coming through. Greatly appreciate you guys checking out this episode. Brooke, thank you for being on. I had so much fun talking with you.
Thank you for having me.
The passion you have, the excitement which you talk about your animals, and the educational aspect you talk about, the want to be educational and push that out there, amazing, amazing. I do nothing but wish blessings on to all the future things you do, the YouTube, the continued success with Instagram and TikTok. Oh, I'm excited to see you, YouTube. Definitely excited to see Morocco. So definitely looking forward to all that you're doing in the future. But thank you so much for coming on. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So if you're done for the night, I understand it's late. Go to sleep. But if you're not, I'm pretty sure someone's live right now. There's so many different live podcasts. Keith Constrictor's Hair Down Fridays today. I'm most likely there because it's Tinley weekend, so we're over there hanging out. So go over there, watch them. Go check out somebody else's live. Say something in the chat. Say what's up. Hit that like button in there too. Go show support to someone else's channel. Show someone support in the community. But also make sure you say hello to somebody you may haven't talked to in a while. Just drop them a note, say hello. You never know how that might make their day go good. We all need to be reached out to sometimes. So definitely say hey, see how somebody's doing. But thank you guys for coming by. Thank you guys for hanging out. Greatly appreciate it. Hope to see you next time. Next Thursday is probably the next video. But thanks again. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Peace.